Good evening, everybody. Good evening, and welcome once again to yet another one shot series session on the chapter Breathing and Exchange of Gases. So, welcoming all of you to NEET 2021-2022 one shot video session on the chapter Breathing and Exchange of Gases. In this week, we will be dealing with the chapters of human physiology. And as you all know, this is our third chapter we are dealing with of human physiology. Hope you have been studying and watching out these sessions live as if of the digestion and absorption as well as body fluids and circulation till what we completed yesterday. And I hope you are reading out your NCRTs also and are prepared completely with the last two chapters. So today we are going to teach, or we are going to enter into a new chapter of human physiology, that is breathing and exchange of gases. This is an amazing Telegram group at Bio.new where we conduct regular discussion, polls, quizzes, updates on our classes, and OMR sheet examination. Those who are watching the session right now, don't forget to hit the like button, do share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe our channel, BioPoint, Stream the World of Bio. This is a crash course for NEET 2021 as well as for NEET 2022. So to know more about the crash course for our NEET batch, join our Telegram group at Bio.new to know more about the crash course. So this is the Bio one-shot revisions. So for more updates and daily schedules, join t.me/bio.new or at bio.new, which is our Telegram group's link. So I haven't specifically took this chapter for you guys, but I have shared the links of the previous lectures, which I have already taught for the previous year batches. So today I am again teaching you with the same, but the difference is it is a one-shot session. So let's move on with the chapter, one of the most important and one of the interesting chapters in which some concepts are really tough to understand. Breathing and exchange of gases. So let's move on with it. We need energy to perform various activities. This energy is derived from the catabolism of various components. You all studied in the chapter Living World that our body always undergo metabolism. Okay, there are different reactions taking place inside our body, right? So the sum total of all the reaction taking place inside our body, we call it as what? We call it as metabolism. Metabolism can be of two types. That is, metabolism means it is a total amount of chemical reaction taking place inside the body, right? So metabolism can be divided into two, that is catabolism. One second. Catabolism and anabolism. One second, it's not working properly. Yes. So catabolism and anabolism. I'll write it once again. So anabolism means building up of materials. Anabolism means building up of material. That is anabolism. And breaking up of materials to smaller substances, you call it as what? Catabolism. Okay. So the energy is derived from the catabolism of various components of food. For example, the different nutrients, proteins, carbohydrates, fat, etc. So proteins are broken down to form amino acids. Carbohydrates to glucose, and fats into fatty acids and glycerol. Right, everybody? Fats can be converted into fatty acids and glycerol. You have studied about all these things in the chapter digestion and absorption. Here, Oxygen is required for the catabolic process and carbon dioxide is released in the process. Whenever you tell, actually this statement mentioned over here is again wrong. But the process of gaseous exchange, you will call it as breathing or respiration. But breathing and respiration, are they same, guys? Breathing and respiration, are they same? Absolutely, they are not same. Breathing is one process, respiration is one process. In breathing, utilization of carbon dioxide and release of oxygen. In respiration, utilization of oxygen and release of carbon dioxide takes place. Clear? Most important difference. We use interchangeably the terms breathing and respiration, but they are absolutely different. Breathing means we are utilizing carbon dioxide to produce oxygen, but in respiration we are utilizing oxygen to break down the food to produce carbon dioxide and water. Clear? So we always inhale air and exhale air. I hope you know we always take in and take out air. The process of taking in of air, you will call it as inhalation. The process of taking in of air is called inhalation, and the process of giving out of air, the process of giving out of air, you will call it as what? Exhalation. That process you will call it as exhalation. So this is actually what is the introduction for the chapter breathing and exchange of gases. The process of exchange of oxygen from the atmosphere with carbon dioxide produced by the cells is called breathing, which is commonly known as respiration. But actually, what is respiration? It is a breakdown of, respiration is actually the breakdown of complex food, that is glucose or whatever, by the action of oxygen to produce carbon dioxide and water. Is that clear? Yes, I hope it's clear. Then, one of the very important slides of this chapter, that is the modes of gaseous exchange and their examples. First, the first one is the cutaneous respiration. What do you mean by cutaneous respiration? The respiratory organ will be skin. The examples is through general body surface in case of poriferans, coelenterata, flatworms and all, and moist cuticle in case of earthworm, moist skin in case of amphibians like frog. What is first one? Cutaneous respiration. In case of cutaneous respiration, the organism respires or breathes through the skin. Okay, so in case of poriferans, coelenterata and flatworms, they respire through general body surface. In case of earthworm, they have a moist cuticle, and in case of amphibians like frog, toads, etc., they respire through their moist skin. Second one we have to discuss is the trachea or the tracheal system. So there the organ tracheal respiration, you will have spiracles. In case of arthropods like cockroach and all, you will arthropods, insect. Arthropods comprises of the insects. So in class insecta and all, you will have this not spirogera, sorry, spiracles. Okay. In case of insects, that is like cockroach and all, you will have spiracles as the respiratory organ. Branchial respiration, third one. There the respiratory organ is the gills. In aquatic organism like aquatic animals, arthropods, mollusk, fishes. Very, very important slide. This one, I have made it very clear on this slide about all the important points over here, because all the different animals have different organs. specialized for gaseous exchange, for respiration, for breathing. So different organs are being specialized. And the last one, let's talk about the pulmonary respiration. The organ over here is the lungs. Terrestrial vertebrates, including human beings. Okay, the respiratory organs and the mechanism of breathing may vary from one organism to another, and it mainly, the mode of respiration mainly depends upon, the mode of respiration mainly depends upon what? The mode of habitat or their habitat. So the organs, different animals have different structures get specialized for respiration. For example, in lower group of invertebrates such as Porifera, Coelenterata, flatworm, etc., gaseous exchange takes place through simple diffusion over their entire body surface. Moist cuticle is present in case of earthworm, through which the gaseous exchange takes place. Trachea or tracheal tubes, that is spiracles, are present in insects, that is arthropods, to have the gaseous exchange. Gills are the respiratory organs involved in the branchial respiration, which is actually the respiratory organ in aquatic animals, aquatic arthropods, mollusks, and fishes. You can also say hemichordata, urochordata, cephalochordata, and all. Then, lungs means it's found in the all land vertebrates. Birds, animals, mammals, etc. have vascularized bags called the lungs for respiration purposes. Is that clear? Clear, everybody? Let's move with the next one, guys. Human respiratory system, from very important MCQs can come for your exam. Okay, it's also an easy chapter, again and again also I'm telling, if you study it. So the first we are going to discuss about the human respiratory system, consisting of the conducting part. Okay, we are discussing about the conducting part of the respiratory system. That's a gas enters inside our body through the nostrils to the pharynx. Pharynx is the common passage of food and air into the larynx, which is acting as a sound box, into the epiglottis, which prevents the food from entering the larynx. Trachea, which divides at the fifth thoracic vertebra, primary bronchi, right and left side division, secondary and tertiary bronchi, finally into bronchioles and terminated. I hope it's not clear for you. Once again, I'll tell you what are each one of them standing for. Look, the gas is entering. Okay, the air is entering into our body through the nose, the nostrils, right through the nostrils. Through the nostrils, they are going to enter into the pharynx. Okay, these all constitute the pharynx. And what is pharynx? Pharynx is the common passage of food and air. Pharynx is the common passage of food and air. From the pharynx, it's going to enter, the air is transferred into what? The next part, that is the larynx. The larynx is also known as the sound box or Adam's apple, all these things. And you will have the epiglottis over here, which actually prevents the entry of food into the larynx. From the larynx, the air is passed into the trachea. Look, the air is passed into the trachea. I hope I'm highlighting it. So I hope it's made clear for you. Okay, it's made clear with a green colored outline marking on the diagram. This is the pathway of air. We have reached, the air has reached the trachea. Clear? From the trachea, look, the trachea will come down and it will divide at the fifth thoracic vertebrae to form primary bronchiole. Look, the air, that is, this is a trachea. This trachea will divide at the fifth thoracic vertebrae to form two different primary bronchiole. So the primary bronchiole divides to form what? Right and left primary bronchiole. So this primary bronchioles will give rise to secondary, the secondary will give rise to tertiary, and finally it will reach what? Bronchioles. So the green colored portion which I am depicting in the diagram indicates the passage of food. Not food, the air. The bronchioles form. So next we are going to discuss what is going to happen from the bronchioles. Is a very important diagram extracted out from your NCRT itself. So the bronchioles form many bag-like structure called alveoli. Okay, these are the alveoli, many bag-like structure. Okay, many bag-like structure called the alveoli. Clear? And the alveoli and the alveolar duct together helps in the process of exchange of gases. Together helps in the process of exchange of gases. Clear, everybody? Okay. Next, the bronchi, bronchioles and the alveoli together constitutes a lungs. Each lung, the lungs, the outer covering of the lungs, you will call it as a pleura. The outer covering of the lungs, you will call it as what? Pleura. Okay. Pleura is the outer covering. Pleura is the outer covering of the lungs. And when we studied about heart, we studied there that pericardium is the covering of the heart. Pericardium is a double membranous structure that covers the heart. Exactly like them. Here you have the pleura which actually covers the lungs. It is a double layered membrane, and in between the pleura, in between the pleural membrane, it is a double layered. So in between the pleural membrane there is a pleural fluid is also present, which reduces the friction, which actually reduces the friction between the lungs. Okay, is that clear for everybody? Is it clear? Is it clear, everyone? Give me hearts on the screen, everybody. Be active on the chat box. Okay. Next, the lungs reside in the thoracic cavity. You know that a particular structure, that is a diaphragm, divides our body into a thoracic cavity and an abdominal cavity. So the part of the body above the diaphragm comes under the thoracic cavity, and the part of the body coming below the diaphragm, you will call it as the abdominal cavity. So the lungs reside always in the thoracic cavity, which is actually formed by the following, that is by the vertebral column, the dorsal surface. The dorsal surface is formed, that is a backside composed of the vertebral column. The ventral side composed of the sternum. The ventral side is composed of sternum. The back side, that is, you have to study it. Back means dorsal, front means ventral. So ventral side it is sternum, dorsal side it is vertebral column. So the lungs is protected by the lungs is protected. The lungs is protected ventrally by the sternum and dorsally by the vertebral column. And the ribs are present laterally. The ribs are present laterally on the ventral surface. Okay. And also a diaphragm is present to separate it from the abdominal cavity. Next, we are moving on to the process of respiration. So we have already studied that the human respiratory system consists of a pair of external nostrils, a nasal chamber is there, a cavity that is nasopharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, finally into alveoli. Clear? And then you have to study that larynx is a sound box that produces the sound. It is a cartilaginous box-like structure that produces sound. A thin elastic cartilaginous flap-like structure called epiglottis prevents the entry of food into the glottis during the deglutition or swallowing. Then the lungs is covered by a double membranous structure called the pleural membrane. In between the pleural membrane, you will have the pleural fluid which reduces the friction when the lungs is functioning. Next, you have the process of respiration. First, you have the structure and functions about pulmonary respiration. Pulmonary respiration means it's the intake of atmospheric oxygen. Okay, pulmonary respiration means it is the intake of atmospheric oxygen and the release of carbon dioxide rich alveolar air. What do you mean by pulmonary? Yesterday we studied not about pulmonary respiration. In yesterday's class, body fluids and circulation, we studied about pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation. Here you will be studying pulmonary respiration. What is pulmonary respiration? Intake of atmospheric oxygen. You are taking in atmospheric oxygen and you are releasing out the carbon dioxide rich air. The diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide across the alveolar membrane happens. Okay, first pulmonary respiration happens, that is taking in of oxygen and giving out of carbon dioxide, and the absorbed oxygen get diffuses. The absorbed oxygen and carbon dioxide present will get diffused across the alveolar membrane. Then you will see the transportation of these gases inside the body. So they have to be transported from the outside to the alveoli, from the alveoli to all parts of the body, to each and every cell for cellular respiration and all. Right? For aerobic respiration, cellular respiration and all, diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide between blood and tissue takes place. The next step, last one, is a cellular respiration, that is catabolism of food using oxygen to release energy and carbon dioxide. Is it clear? Once again, okay. Once again, we'll tell first process that is happening during the process of respiration, or the respiration process starts with pulmonary respiration. That is simply, you imagine that a normal person breathes in and breathes out air. So a particular amount of oxygen and carbon dioxide enter into our body. So second step is that diffusion of these gases with alveoli takes place. Diffusion of these gases with the alveoli happens. Clear? So oxygen get diffused with alveolar membrane and carbon dioxide also get diffused. And next, after diffusion, these have to be transported to minute, even the minute cells of our body. Okay, they have to be getting transported to different parts of the body. Then you can have the diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide into the blood and the tissue. Finally cellular respiration takes place. Is that clear for everybody? We have reached slide number 10. We have slide up to 19. Okay, let's move with the next topic. Breathing mechanism. I hope you are understanding the topic clearly. Okay, I hope you're understanding the topic. Next, very important topic, very important MCQ question, statement type question may come. Okay, statement MCQs. Statement based MCQs can come from this particular topic. So, breathing mainly composed of two main steps, that is inspiration and expiration. Okay, breathing consists of inspiration, breathing consists of expiration also. You know, inspiration means what? Inhale. Expiration means what? Exhale. In all CBSE schools, state schools and ISC schools and all, you will have the yoga where you'll hear inhale, exhale, all these exercise will be there. So inhale, inspire, exhale, expire. So At that particular inhalation and exhalation, what changes are occurring inside our body, that we are going to discuss right now. So, when is inspiration taking place? When the intrapulmonary pressure, that is, guys, imagine that this is your body, this is your pulmonary system. Okay, this is your pulmonary system, and this is your body, outside environment. This is the outside environment. Okay, outside environment. The concentration of oxygen inside your pulmonary system is very, very low, but the amount of oxygen in the environment is very, very high. What happens is that this is the intrapulmonary pressure. Look, intrapulmonary pressure. Due to the lowering of intrapulmonary pressure, as the pressure gets lowered, pressure flows out from the region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. That is, air will suddenly gushes from outside to inside of our body, causing the process of inhalation. Is that clear? Is that clear? One more time, I'll explain it. During the process of inspiration, the pressure inside our body, that is pressure inside the lungs, decreases. At the time when the pressure inside our lungs decreases, the pressure inside our lungs is intrapulmonary pressure. When the intrapulmonary pressure decreases, due to the reduced pressure, what happens? The pressure region which is higher outside the body will gushes the air flow from outside to inside, which causes the inspiration process. Clear? Then, the pulmonary volume is increased due to the contraction of the diaphragm and the intercostal muscle. So, intrapulmonary pressure lowers, contraction of what? Diaphragm and intercostal muscles takes place. Ribs and sternum lift up and the air moves into the lungs. Okay. Volume and pressure inversely proportional. So pressure decreases, volume increases. So when the intrapulmonary pressure decreased, the pulmonary volume increased. Okay, when the intrapulmonary pressure decreased, pulmonary volume increase. As the pulmonary volume gets increased, the contraction of the intercostal muscles as well as diaphragm takes place, which actually leads to the lifting up of the ribs and the sternum and causing the air to move inside or air to move into the lungs. Clear? So that is a process with inspiration process. Clear? Is it clear, everybody? Yes. Next one, you have the process of expiration. Expiration means the alveolar air is expelled out due to high intrapulmonary pressure. Guys, just imagine the reverse condition. The concentration of oxygen is very high inside the lungs, and the concentration of oxygen is very low outside the body. So what happens? It causes a sudden gushing out of oxygen, or it causes a sudden gushing out of the air from inside to outside. So when the pressure is very high, the volume, the intrapulmonary volume will be very low. So the alveolar air is expelled out due to high intrapulmonary pressure as compared to the atmospheric pressure. As the pressure increases, the relaxation of the diaphragm and the intercostal muscle occurs. The ribs and the sternum and the diaphragm returns to their normal position. Inspiration and expiration can be increased by the help of the muscles in the abdomen also. One of the very important question, normal breathing rate is 12 to 16 times per minute. Very important MCQ. Is it clear for everybody? Is it clear? Give me hearts on the screen. I'll explain it once again to each one of you. Yes. So mechanism of breathing mainly consists of two main. I'll write it in a black slide. I'll try to write it in a black slide. 1 second. Yes. Mechanism. Yes. Mechanism of breathing. First, let's talk about inspiration. Just summarize what is inspiration. Inspiration means during which the atmospheric air is drawn into the lungs. So inspiration occurs when the intrapulmonary pressure, IPP, intrapulmonary pressure is very low. So inspiration occurs when the intrapulmonary pressure is less, which is initiated by the contraction of the diaphragm takes place. Contraction of the diaphragm takes place. Diaphragm and the intercostal muscle also. Intercostal muscles also takes place, which actually leads to increase in the volume, increase in the thoracic volume. Okay. The ribs and the sternum are lift upwards. The ribs and the sternum are lift up, which also increases the volume of the thoracic chamber in the dorsoventral axis. Clear? Next, expiration. Next term is the expiration. First point, in case of expiration, intrapulmonary pressure is very high and relaxation of diaphragm and intercostal muscle takes place. Intercostal muscles takes place. Volume is reduced and the ribs and the sternum comes back to its original position. Clear, everybody? Clear? Yes, let's move with the next one. Now let's move on to most important topics, that is some of the terms which we are going to discuss. First one is a spirometer. Spirometer is an apparatus which is used for measuring the volume of inhaled and exhaled air. Okay, spirometer is actually a device which is used for measuring the volume of the inhaled and the exhaled air. Okay. Next, we are going to study about some respiratory volumes and capacity. Very important question. Respiratory volume and capacities. Let's start with it. First, we are going to study about tidal volume. The first term we are going to discuss is the tidal volume. What is actually tidal volume? That is our question. Tidal volume means it is indicated by the alphabets TV, short form tidal volume TV. Its amount is 500 ml. What is tidal volume? Volume of air inspired or expired normally. Guys, during your sleep, during a normal time, you will inspire some amount of air, you will expire that much of amount of air back. So that particular process, you will call it as the tidal volume. That particular volume of air inspired or expired through normal respiration, you will call it as what? Tidal volume. That is, we are inspiring this much of air, and we are expiring that much of air, inspiring again, expiring that much, inspiring that much, expiring. So just like this the graph goes. So how much amount of air is inspired, that much amount of air is expired also. That volume you will call it as the tidal volume, and its amount is 500 ml. So tidal volume TV 500 ml, the volume of air inspired or expired normally. Clear, everybody? So let's move with the next one. Next we have the second one, that is the inspiratory reserve volume, which is actually IRV. Inspiratory reserve volume or IRV is the next topic that we are gonna study. Guys, I hope this respiratory volume and respiratory capacity I have to explain you in detail, so that I'll take a +4 marks guaranteed session for this particular area. Okay, a +4 guaranteed marks for this particular area based on these two slides in detail. It's okay for everybody? Is it okay? Is it okay? We have a bit more to complete. We have some more topics to complete. Okay. And moreover, my throat is aching. So I hope let's continue with the later half of this chapter in another one-shot session. Okay. A part 2 session. Clear? Clear, everybody? Sorry for the inconvenience made, but I hope whatever taught today is clear. There'll be no test paper after the session. Clear, everybody? So most probably tomorrow itself you will have the next part of this particular chapter. Okay, and moreover the upcoming topics also is very long, not on this chapter. Next will be locomotion and movement. It will also be a lengthy chapter, so there is a need for us to divide it into 2 or 3 parts, but we'll try to complete all the topics in just this 1 week. Okay, after this one shots of human physiology, we'll be back with the sessions of all chapters of photos in this is sexual reproduction and all will be continued. So sorry for the delay for today. And it's because my throat is aching. I told you the doctor have asked me to take rest, but I don't want to miss your class. So I have been raising my voice to maximum. So anyway, thank you guys. See you in the next class with yet another important topic of this particular chapter itself. See you. Good night, everybody.